Hello there, welcome to Walk and Talk. This is kind of a new series that I'm trying on in my channel. It's not really a podcast, it's not really a channel update. It's, some kind of like free-flowing random things where I play some video games and just talk to you guys. So basically we can say that the name of the series is Walk and Talk. And the topic is life, universe, and everything else, right? So just anything, right? By the way, the gameplay you are seeing is Destiny 2. However, that really doesn't matter. The game is not supposed to be contextual to what I will be talking about in any way. It's just something that you have that you can look at while you're listening to this. If you don't want to look at it, you can just listen to this like a podcast or an audiobook, for example. But if you want to watch, I'll just play some Destiny 2 for you. Basically, the goal is to have a game that I can play without really having to think too much about it. However, I am used to playing something and talking while I'm playing something. I kind of feel weird when I just talk into the mic without doing anything. So that's kind of, that's why we're doing this. Yes, so this is Destiny 2. This is the moon. We're just going to go around, run around, and talk about stuff. So one of the people that kind of inspired me to do this is somebody I like to call a friend, the YouTuber BBK Dragoon. He has kind of a similar series to this, but he always tells me, because I share some of my thoughts about life, the universe, and everything with him, and he's always like, dude, you should record this for your channel, these are interesting thoughts, right? So I decided to try this, right? And I also haven't uploaded in a while, so I wanted to upload something while I'm getting back into the StarCraft groove. The StarCraft videos will not go away, do not worry. I just I haven't played in a while. And I will explain why I haven't played in a while. Maybe you've seen it in my posts. If not, by the way, if you are interested in subscribing and following my channel, please follow the community posts that I write on my channel. That is the best way to keep up with me. For now, I don't have any other way of reaching out to my community except these posts and videos. And you can also join the community there. If you're a subscriber, you can actually talk to other people if you want. It's all up to you. So this series is gonna be semi-regular. Depends on how I feel about it and how you guys feel about it. So if you like this series, drop a like, drop a comment down below. There is no gain for me except knowing that you like this. If you know or don't know, my channel is not monetized. I do not want it to be monetized. I do not want to make any money from this channel. This is just a pure hobby for me, because I'm lucky enough to have a steady job that I like doing and that I do not want to stop doing because of this. This is just, a hobby. So let's move on. Let's go explore the moon and talk about stuff. By the way, I removed the HUD from the game. I think it just looks better this way. I really I've played this game for 10 years, so I don't need the HUD to just be in control. We're gonna shoot some dudes and we're gonna talk about stuff. So, topic number one, where have I been, right? I have been working a lot. If you've seen my community posts, oh, there's another player. You might have seen that I wrote that I had a lot of work to do, and it's been pretty stressful. And because of this, I am very tired after work, more than usual. And if I was to record videos, they wouldn't be high quality videos. Not to say that my videos are of some super high quality, but I do make sure to make my videos interesting and to play missions in an interesting way. So I couldn't do this with my job, and my job is still my main source of income. So I'm not gonna sacrifice that for YouTube. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to see it. Yeah, me and this guy are just gonna shoot something. So I have been working, right? I have been sort of promoted at work. I am, for everybody that doesn't know, and I think everybody doesn't know, I am a software developer, and I have been put on a project and I made the architect, the software architect for this project, which is for me a very big responsibility. And you know, I need everything I know to work on this. It has been a very hard project, a very stressful project. So I didn't really have a lot of time to you know, do anything else. I come home from work and I'm tired. I can maybe play a video game, but not can't really commit to it, because you know, my videos, I have to like practice them. Even though I know StarCraft, I still need to practice these videos to play them in an interesting way, right? So I just couldn't do that because of work. And I was also tired after work and spent and everything, right? I've also had some, you know, family issues. My mom is, you know, getting sick because, you know, she's not as young as she used to be anymore. And that kind of, you know, weighs on my shoulders, even though I can't really help her. My dad is there to help her, but, you know, it's just something on my mind that, like, when it all compounds, right? Like, one thing might not be that bad, but like 2 or 3 things, they you know, they weigh on you, as they say. And so I kind of just decided I needed a little break. And to be fair, I also got a little bit burned out from StarCraft. Not a lot, you know. I still love the game and I still enjoy playing it. I just needed a little break because I take my channel a little more seriously than I probably should, and I always want to be like very correct and very professional, even though, you know, it's a hobby. Maybe I should just lay off it. I don't think everybody expects me to be, you know, Grant or something, right? People who do this for a living. Their need and will for quality is much higher. Anyway, so that's kind of been it. And also, you know, like, it's... Sometimes I'm a normal person just like you. Sometimes I struggle with things, right? A little bit of loneliness. I basically live alone with my cat. I live very, very far away from my family and friends. Some like 2,500 kilometers. That's about like 1,500 miles for you Americans. Why are these guys so hard to kill? I don't know, these guys should be popping. Anyway, yeah, so, you know, I'm far away from friends and family, alone. You know, that can lead to some forms of depression, which is not good. My channel is there to kind of help me, you know, unwind. But, you know, with work stress and everything, and sometimes I do this to myself, right? I'm not a person that can like just chill out while doing something long term. I have to either like completely dedicate myself to something or not do it at all. And that extends to work. I'm either bored and procrastinating, or I'm like, you know, working 12 hours a day. That is not good, kids, by the way. If you are young, starting your career, or maybe even you have a career, but, you know, you're working on it. Doing it like I do is not good, so don't do it like that. Anyway, yeah, that's where I've been. I haven't forgotten you guys. I haven't forgotten my channel. I really miss uploading. I want to upload more. I just need some time to, you know, get my bearings. Like I said, I haven't played StarCraft in a while, in like a few weeks. So I'm a bit rusty, but yeah, the next video, the next StarCraft video is supposed to be Engine of Destruction. And that's gonna come soon, I hope. Anyway, that's the topic of where have I been. I actually have a document here with notes on what I want to talk about. So yeah, I'm not gone. I'm still here. Just, you know, things happened. What else is new in my life? Well, I left Discord recently. It doesn't have much to do with, you know, this Discord stuff where they're like using Face ID and stuff. It's not directly tied to that, even though some people I know have left Discord for that reason. It was mostly because I realized that I was getting addicted to Discord. Alright, so, context. I kind of pride myself on being the type of person that doesn't use social media, right? I don't have Twitter account. I haven't had a Twitter account for years, even before it changed to X. I don't use Facebook. I've never had an Instagram account. I've never used TikTok. Mostly I just use Discord and sometimes Reddit, but those are social media apps as well, because any application where you can talk to strangers on the internet that you don't actually know personally and that anybody can join, it's like a public forum thing, that is a social media app. And you know, even in the smallest of communities, if they are open to a lot of people and are kind of centered around some general topic, be it a video game or something else, random people can join. And you know, sometimes you get into arguments with these people, right? And that is what happened to me. I also just noticed that I am on Discord 24/7. Well, not 24/7, but as long as my PC is turned on, be it the work PC or my private PC, Discord is on at all times. I'm not looking at it constantly, but it is always on. If somebody messages me or I get a little bored, I look at Discord, which is not good, right? I noticed that it's, you know, I'm getting addicted to it, and it's slowly turning me toxic. And it came in a period of my life where I'm like stressed for work. So that also compounds. And so that's why I left Discord. I didn't leave it fully. I decided to leave it for 2 months. So I just uninstalled Discord from my PC. I logged off the web browser version of Discord, and I went to the hosts file of my Windows machine. There is basically a file in like System32 called hosts where you can set IP addresses for links, right? If you, for example, want www.wasteoftime.com to lead you to the IP address of Reddit, you can set it there. So what I did, I took all the Reddit. Yes, I also left Reddit for a while. I took all the links, the URLs for Reddit, old Reddit, whatever, and for Discord, and I just set them to the IP address that is a local IP address in my own network that just leads to nothing. And so if I go to Discord's website, it will just spin forever in my browser, and then eventually would say cannot reach page. And that is... It's not like I can never go to Discord again. I can just remove that from the host file. But the idea was to put like steps between me and Discord, so that if I feel the flesh is getting weak, I would have to change the host file, and then I would have to like remember my password and log in, because I deleted those from my browser's memory. So there will be several steps that I would have to do if I wanted to go to Discord currently. And the idea is that by the time I have to do these steps, I will actually remember that I don't really want to be there currently. Same for Reddit, right? And so that's why I did it, right? I did a very similar thing a few years ago for Twitter. I just did the exact same thing just for Twitter. I logged off, I removed it from, my app, my phone. I never really use my phone for this stuff anyway. Not a phone user, really. My phone is mostly for reading ebooks and then calls and for Messenger. Which is Facebook, but it's just Messenger. It's just people I know, so I can't get into arguments with strangers on Messenger. So basically I did the same thing for these apps, and it worked really well. By the time 2 months were passed, I returned to Twitter, but I was like, this isn't like it used to be, so I just stopped going there, deleted my account, never went back. Right, so I did the same with Facebook, right? I still have Messenger. You have to have I think you have to have Facebook in order to have Messenger. I don't actually think that's true anymore. But yeah, I don't go to Facebook anymore. I just use Messenger to keep in touch with family and friends, because most of my contacts are there. But yeah, once I did that, once like 2 months have passed where I didn't go to any of these applications, I never went back, because it allowed me the perspective to see like, oh, I don't actually want to be here, right? This doesn't feel good. Oh, there's something here. Let's pick this up. Can we even pick this up? No, we can't. Okay. By the way, I'm just going deeper into the moon. We are going to loop around this whole place and just come back out on the other side. So let's go into a dark place. This is kind of a... There's a mission down here. We can't actually get to the mission. We can just go part of it. But this is a horror section, right? It's dark and you can't really see the enemies and they can ambush you. See catacombs, right? Very cool. We're gonna talk about Destiny a little later. Anyway, so yeah, left Discord. I do miss some people, talking to some people, because I only have them on Discord, but you know, it is my belief that if there are people that you are supposed to be connected with in life, you will find a way to do that anywhere else. It doesn't have to be Discord just because it was Discord. It doesn't have to be Discord forever. Also, some people are moving away from Discord. Some people are moving to, what's it called? TeamSpeak. Like an application that used to be relevant in the 2000s. People used to use that application before Discord. It was kind of one of the two applications that gamers used. Alright, enemies are coming. By the way, I have this skill, I have this ability on my DMR, a scout rifle, that if I headshot an enemy, they just explode. I think it's the main ability is called Dragonfly, but in this this scout rifle is called Maganura. That's something, right? Doesn't matter. Just a small small fun fact. So that's Discord. What else? I think I got him. No, I didn't get him. Maybe I did get him. What else? What else? I have notes here so I can talk about them. Yes, left Discord. Good. What do you guys think about Discord? Like, do you use it? Have you left it because of the stuff that Discord has started doing, right? They've been free all this time and now they're like a public company and they have shareholders and they started like monetizing more, which, you know, I understand, right? You got to make money somehow, but you know, Nitro is not the way, and forcing people to give you their face scan and government ID is also not the way to do it. How do you guys feel about Discord? Let me know in the comments, right? I like talking to my community. There's not a lot of you who comment on my channel, but I like every comment that I get. Just for, like I said, it's not monetized. It's just for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm in touch with my community. With my viewers. It makes me happy, right? Makes me less lonely. And there's no reason to shoot these guys across the map. Yes, other things. If you've seen the post, I bought a gaming PC. Yes, I bought a gaming PC in 2026. Well, sort of the plan was set in motion and most of the things were done in late 2025. Once the RAM prices started going crazy, I saw the writing on the wall and I was like, if I was ever gonna buy a PC, now is the time, because before this I have never owned a gaming PC in my life. I had a, when I was younger, I had PCs that had no GPU at all. So I used either software rendering or just, you know, the internal GPU of the CPU. Or later in life, the last few years, I've had gaming laptops. And the gaming laptop is what I recorded my videos. All the videos up until this one, I recorded on a gaming laptop. It's a good gaming laptop, but it's still just a gaming laptop. So I decided to buy a PC because, you know, I always wanted a PC. I had, you know, I saved up, I could afford it, and I saw that the industry is going in a bad direction where like it's getting more and more expensive. So I invested in that. Took a while to get there, but you know, the price of everything was somewhere, it was like frozen in like October, November, maybe October or November of 2025. So it wasn't that pricey. Again, I put a post on my channel, like posts. showing my setup. I took a picture of the monitors I have and the PC that I have. It's a pretty cool PC. It's got like a glass panel in the front and on the sides. It's got like RGB, lights and everything. It's pretty cool. Inside, it's a full AMD system, by the way. It has a Ryzen 7 9800X3D, which is basically the best gaming CPU you can buy today. And it has a Gigabyte RX 9070 XT Gaming OC Overclock Edition, which is the best AMD graphics card you can buy at the moment. You could buy a better graphics card from Nvidia, but you would bankrupt yourself. It has 2 sticks of 16 gigabytes of RAM, so 32 in total, 6000 megahertz Corsair Vengeance RAM. It's not RGB. It has a Corsair 850 watt power supply, gold plus, I think, something gold, yeah, something gold plus. What else? It's got an AIO for the CPU cooler. It has, yeah, that's basically it, right? So I put all the details in the post, right? And then I took a picture of my setup of like the peripherals. So I'll just, I'll talk about it if you haven't seen the posts. I have 2 monitors. One is a AOC, that's the brand name, AOC 24-inch 1080p 144 hertz IPS display, which is like my secondary monitor. It's on top and on the bottom. Yes, my monitors are not like one beside the other. They're actually one on top of the other. The main one is a Asus ROG Strix monitor. It's 27-inch 1440p 180 hertz IPS display. Most of the other peripherals that I have are all SteelSeries. If you don't know, I live in Norway and SteelSeries is from Denmark, so it's really easy to get SteelSeries stuff. It's not that expensive because it's a neighboring country and they have import and trade agreements or whatever. So I have a SteelSeries Apex Pro 10 keyless keyboard. I have a SteelSeries Aerox 3 mouse, which is kind of the lightweight mouse with the holes. And the 3 in the Aerox is just how many buttons it has, except the left and right click. So this one has 3, 2 on the side and 1 in the middle. I also have a SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset. That's the one that a lot of YouTubers have. It's really good. I also have the Arctis earbuds X for my Xbox Series X. I have an Xbox Series X. I have a SteelSeries mouse pad. My mic that you are hearing right now is a Blue Yeti from 2011 edition, right? This is like the old Blue Yeti before they were bought by Logitech. And some would say like started making microphones of less quality, but you can look it up on YouTube if you want to talk about that. But yeah, it's a really good mic. I like it. I've had it for years. What else? So yeah, I have a Razer Tarok Pro gaming chair. It's basically made by this company called Zen that made these chairs for Razer. It's a really cool chair. Most of my peripherals I've had for like 2 years. Not all of them are exactly 2 years, but I started like collecting this like collection of peripherals 2 years ago, and I finished a while ago. But yeah, this is all 2-year-old, at most 2-year-old stuff. I really like it, like everything. The keyboard is amazing. I've never had a keyboard that's this good. The mouse is great, right? The headset is great. It's all great. The monitors are amazing. I basically waited for like deals. Like spring sale or summer sales or Black Friday sales, and then I bought them, so I got most of them on discount. So yeah, that's kind of the setting. And also there's a picture of my cat, right? So I know some people like to call it Transitus cat. She actually has a name. She is a girl, a 2.5-year-old British short hair. You can see a picture of her in the post. Like the first picture is my PC setup, and the second picture is her on top of my PC case. So you can look it up there. And her name is Apricot, by the way. Yeah, so that's kind of the PC stuff. Now let's now take a breather and just look at this. Right, this is why I love Bungie. See there in the distance. This is not a playable area. This is just, you know, just to look at in a space where there is one mission, or I think it's a. I don't know if this is a strike or a mission, but anyway, you don't really come here that often. Look how much like work went into this, them just making this. There's some scaffolding there. There's like hanging stuff here. There's a light. I'm going to cover the light. You can see there's some chains or something right there, right? I don't know what this is, but this is just amazing. Like, this is what Bungie does. Bungie does amazing, amazing work in their games. Which leads me to a topic that's been on my mind for months and especially for weeks, and I really want to talk about it because I can't not talk about it. And that is Marathon, right? Bungie released a new game. Today is Wednesday, so it was like 6 days ago. Bungie released a new game called Marathon. It is a hardcore PvP extraction shooter, and it's not doing very well. And I kind of saw this coming from a mile away, like from hundreds of miles away, and I've been talking about this, but people usually don't want to listen. They either call me a hater or some worse names, or they just ignore what I say and they're like, well, I like the game. So I played the server slam. That was like a beta server test a week and a half ago, a weekend before launch. So like, yeah, last week, 2 weeks ago, something like this, right? And I said, like, yeah, this, you know, the game looks nice. The art style is nice. The gunplay is amazing because it's Bungie, right? But there's really not much in the game, right? It is just a PvP extraction shooter. There is no story, no characters, you know, no dialogue, no narrative, nothing. Just vendors and audio logs. Okay, let's keep going right there, right? And the game, he's really not doing great since launch, right? It launched to like 88,000 concurrent players on Steam. It is available on like all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam, right? But usually Steam numbers are very close to these numbers or better, right? There is a reporter called Paul Tassi. I think he writes for Bloomberg or something right now, and he actually, in one of his videos recently, he said that he talked to one of his contacts at Bungie, and they said that Marathon's player base is mostly on PC. So, you know, the game launched with like 88,000 concurrent players, and it has been like flip-flopping, like there's ebbs and flows since then, every day. The highest peak is about like between like 70 to 60,000, and then the bottom, the lows are about like 25,000. It's mostly down to like the time zones in Europe and the US, right? In the middle of the day, or in the evenings and like afternoons in the US and the nights in Europe, the game has a higher player number. That's like the 60,000. And then when people in the US are sleeping, or people in Europe are at work or at school, the player numbers dip to like 25,000. However, this morning, I actually checked the numbers, and it was a concurrent player number of 2,500, not 25,000, not 250,000, 2,500, which is like 5 days after release. That is not good. Like that is not what you want from a game made by one of the biggest studios in the world, right? That's really bad numbers. People keep saying like, oh no, these numbers are fine. No, brother, they're not fine, right? Or sister, whatever, right? It's not that those are not fine numbers, right? And I will tell you why. So Marathon, again, it was developed by one of the biggest and best game development studios in the world, Bungie, right? The people who made Destiny, Halo. They made this 90s RTS game called Myth. And they made a single player Doom clone boomer shooter in the early 90s called Marathon, right? That's where the game takes his name. This was some kind of event that we shot, right? So it took 6 years to develop Marathon. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars because even without the marketing budget, you have to like pay most of the studio. You have to pay people that work at the studio every month, which is normal. And Bungie like pulled 80% of their developers to work on Marathon, especially in the last 2 years. Right, so 6 years, hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Also, Sony bought Bungie a few years ago. They paid like $3.5 billion. $3.5 billion for Bungie. They presumably bought Destiny and Marathon, right? That is just to give you a context of how much that is. That is almost the same amount of money as Disney paid for Star Wars. Just keep that in mind, right? And so Marathon is a hardcore PvP extraction shooter, something like Escape from Tarkov, Arc Raiders. There's this game by Crytek, the one in the Wild West that's also extraction shooter. I always forget the name of that game because I never played it. Right, games like this. This is like a niche game for a hardcore audience. Where most of these games were not developed in a budget that has like hundreds of millions of dollars and the best studio ever, and right, because the expectations of games like this are much higher than for like a small, even for Arc Raiders, right, which was developed by the same guys to develop the finals. And I'm not saying Arc Raiders is a bad game or they're bad developers, but you know that the scale and the expectations are very different, right? Marathon also has like, you know, they got a couple of levels, couple of maps, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, maps, basically maps that even though they're like in different biomes, they all look the same art style, right? Right, it's still this 3D printed plastic, cheap plastic look that their levels have. Oh yeah, I forgot the event there. I'm gonna shoot some more dudes. Right, so, and they have like one type of enemy, which are robots. Some robots that all look the same, even though there are like versions of these robots. But they all look the same. It's like it's just, you know, it's not impressive, right? And I will tell you why it's not impressive, right? So when Bungie developed Destiny, right, the first Destiny game in 2014, it took them 7 years to make that game. That game costs, we know that the budget was like $500 million because they made that money back on day one after release. Yeah, shoot these guys. I need to talk to my people about like Marathon. Come on, leave me alone. Okay, should be enough. Should be all of them. No, not yet. Yeah, now it's all of them. Right, so 7 years for Destiny 1. 7 years, $500 million budget. However, right, the difference is for Destiny 1, Bungie had to write a whole new engine. Right, they had the Halo engine that they left to Microsoft. They basically rewrote that engine entirely for Destiny. They also created like multiple characters like Ikora, Kate 6, the Queen, her brother, Aldrin, right? Aldrin Sov. They wrote like, you know, Zavala, Kate 6, the Speaker, the Ghost, right? There's a bunch of characters. They also created 4 distinct races in the game: the Fallen, the Hive, the Vex, and the Cabal. These are the Hive. They're still in Destiny 2, right? They created these races, wrote the script for all of them, gave them lore, a background, right? Fully wrote them into the story. They also created 4 planets. The Cosmodrome, which is Earth. All right, we didn't go. Oh yeah, okay, I know. We'll go there. The Cosmodrome, Mars, Venus, and this, right, the moon, which all look different, right? The moon doesn't look anything like Cosmodrome. That doesn't look anything like Venus. That doesn't look anything like Mars, right? And that's just Destiny 1. Where's the other planets? I'm not even going to mention them. This is just Destiny 1. The initial planets. The same way with the races, right? Like the Hive don't look like anything like the Cabal, that don't look anything like the Vex, and don't look anything like the Fallen, right? It's a lot of game was developed at that time. And they also created like a full campaign. Not a great campaign, but there's still a bunch of missions, and it set up the story. They wrote the lore. They created strikes, which are kind of... Strikes are almost like instances in MMO games. They're like harder missions designed around 3-player co-op. Right, we gotta jump up there. They also created a bunch of PvP maps like that people loved. The vanilla maps were pretty good, beloved. People still like playing them. See, we came out the other side. And they also created a raid, right? And now there's supposed to be a raid map in Marathon coming out in the second part of March, but it's really like... Do you understand the scale, right? For Marathon, in contrast, for Marathon, like Bungie had the Destiny 2 engine. The Marathon was developed inside the Destiny 2 engine. All of the animations for all the characters, the guns, the shooting, the movement were all taken from Destiny 2. They created one race of robots. They did write story, but like there's, you know, you understand the scope between these two games is like gigantic. And they almost took the same amount of money and time to build. Right, that is not a good look. And also, one of the key things is because of the development of Marathon, Bungie basically abandoned Destiny 2. Right, this game that we are playing right now has been in a really bad state for the last 2 years. The expansions that came out were bad because Bungie took like 80% of the developers in their studio to work on Marathon and left Destiny 2 with like a skeleton crew and basically in maintenance mode. They came up with 2 expansions, Edge of Fate and Renegades, that were really bad. Like really not good at all. In some ways I wish they actually did abandon Destiny 2 instead of releasing the Edge of Fate. Because like the portal and everything really like didn't do any favors to this game. It just helped kill it. So Destiny 2 is in such a bad state that the state is worse than Curse of Osiris, which was the second expansion to the game when it launched. And it was, in Bungie's own words, they were like such low player numbers that they were weeks away from shutting the servers down. Like things are worse now. I checked today. While Marathon had like 2,500 concurrent players, Destiny had like 4,500, and the daily peak is around 70 to 20,000 in Destiny 2. These are not great numbers for a live service game, right? Of course, these are just Steam numbers, but there is no reason to believe that the console numbers are any better. So let's just do some simple math. Let's say there were 5,000 concurrent players on Steam today when I checked this morning. And if we say that the consoles, PlayStation and Xbox have the same number of people, so that's like 15,000 concurrent players. Not great. For Marathon, it's even worse. If they were 2,500 people, and if we, 3 times that, we can say that they were like less than 10,000 people in Marathon this morning. That is really bad, right? They abandoned Destiny for this, and I really I'm serious when I say abandoned, right? Destiny 2 has been printing money for Bungie for years, right? You may or may not know this, but I have been a Destiny player for 10 years, right? I started playing Destiny in January of 2015 when my best friend showed me the game on his PlayStation, on his new PlayStation 4, right? And I have been playing that game for 10 years. Actually, if you want, in the next walk and talk, I can tell you the story of how Destiny 1 changed my life. And I am not exaggerating. I am not being hyperbolic. Destiny actually changed my life completely, 180, for so much better, right? My life is so much better because of Destiny 2. Even though I was never a content creator, I was never, you know, a YouTuber, streamer, anything. But the game allowed me to do other things in my life to motivate me because of it existing. Like, if you want to hear this story, just, you know, write it in the comments. Destiny story, hashtag Destiny story. Tell us the Destiny story, whatever you want to call it. If you want to hear the story, I will tell you the story of how Destiny changed my life in the next walk and talk. But yeah, like, so the expansions are bad. The next expansion for Destiny 2 has been delayed until June of 2026, so June of this year. And it was supposed to come out just before Marathon, and they delayed it because of Marathon. And yeah, that's not good. That is not good. They thought that Marathon was gonna like help them, you know, make up the difference. It really didn't. People are slowly leaving this game because there is nothing to play. Like I said, there is no story in Marathon. There is no dialogue. There are no characters. There is no narrative. There's just 3 maps with the same layout. And it's just vendors and audio logs, right? They hired some of the best voice actors in the world. You know, people who were in Baldur's Gate and people who were in Expedition 33. To voice vendors and audio logs in Marathon. Like, that is like the poorest decision I have ever heard. And it's not getting better, right? They just revealed, I think today or yesterday, they just revealed the Battle Pass. Of course, the Battle Pass is coming. Eververse 2.0 is coming. So they revealed the Battle Pass, they revealed the microtransactions, and they are of the quality that Destiny 2 has, which is not great. People don't really like the Destiny 2 cosmetics, you know, the microtransactions and stuff. So the game is not in a good place, and it is, I don't think it's recoverable. Now, there are, because this is Bungie and Bungie has an ego, they are the definition of hubris. Instead of like admitting that the game is not doing great, they have started blaming the community, right? Blaming the players. And they're like, I don't know what I would call them. The Bungie sycophants, some of the content creators, are already on a like on a quest to, like, you know, blame people who didn't buy Marathon and don't want to buy it. One of the oldest and most popular Destiny 2 content creators. I'm not gonna tell you his name. I don't want people to go like harass him, even though I don't really have an audience to harass him. I just don't want to risk it. So this person said that it's time, like a few days ago, they wrote like, it's time to stop boycotting Marathon. It's like, brother, nobody is boycotting Marathon. We just don't care about the game. Like, Bungie's audience is primarily comprised of people who like cooperative PvE, not hardcore PvP extraction shooters, right? What's even worse, like, as good as Marathon is just a game, right? They built an extraction shooter where you can't even lean, right? There is no lean button. Like, how? Who makes these decisions? I don't understand, right? Anybody who plays these games or is a fan of their games could have told them, like, that's not how you do it. That is not how you build this game. But they just went ahead with it anyway. Oh, okay. You're gonna put up your shield. Okay. Yeah. So not doing great. Yeah, well, I was talking about like Bungie blaming everybody. So yeah, this person said like it's time to stop boycotting Marathon. Like, all of us who like have been criticizing Marathon have been like not buying it because of some, I don't know, like, whatever reason. No, I just don't want to play a game that's an extraction shooter, right? Bungie's audience is mostly comprised of cooperative PvE players. That is what Destiny has fostered in the last 10 years. Like, the Destiny 2 PvP community died long ago. Like, because Bungie didn't really take care of the PvP aspects of Destiny. They just left. And so... Okay, so here's like here's the deal. Marathon by itself is not a terrible game, right? It still has like Destiny 2's engine, right? It still has the DNA of a Bungie game, and that means that the shooting and the running and everything is actually pretty nice. But there's no real game to play there, right? The other thing is they sacrificed Destiny 2 in order to make Marathon. It's not like Destiny 2 is in a great spot and Marathon is like just a PvP helping for the people who want this, right? Let's say if Destiny 2 was, let's be like generous. Let's say if Destiny 2 was in Witch Queen levels of good, right? Witch Queen was sort of recent expansion, very well received by the community. If Destiny 2 was still at that level, everybody happy, a lot of content, and then they made Marathon as like a second helping, maybe something for the PvP fans, while the Destiny community of PvE fans has Destiny, then Marathon would be a smash hit, right? It would be cool, right? Doesn't matter if it's like 88,000 peak concurrent players on launch, and doesn't matter if it's like 20,000 people every day or 60,000, doesn't matter, because Destiny 2 is still printing money, and so Marathon is just a hobby for them, something they can build on long term. There's no expectations on it, but that's not what happened, right? Destiny 2 is dead, right? It is dead. I know the irony of me playing Destiny 2 in this video while saying it's dead, but it is like this game is in big trouble. Like the content is not hitting, the content creators are leaving en masse. Some of them hope that Marathon would be good enough to sustain them, but looks like it's not gonna be. And these people still have like, they need to make money, they need to feed their families and themselves and pay rent and food and whatever. They need to find a new game to cover, and that is not going to be Marathon. Because I don't think Sony is happy with this. Like last year, during the earnings report in March, Sony was like, you know, circling the idea of completely canceling Marathon, but then Bungie convinced them, oh, don't do it, we'll get it done. Yeah, I think Sony was right. Right, and in these conditions that exist for Bungie and for Sony, and the amount of money that was spent and the time that was spent, you can't justify these expenses. These low numbers of player population are like really bad and unsustainable. And now there's people that's gonna say like, well, I just like the game, why are you being so toxic? Like, I'm not being toxic, right? If you like playing Marathon, good for you, but you understand that if you keep like that Marathon is causing is putting Bungie in danger of being completely shut down, right? Sony does not screw around. They have proven that they are not above like closing a studio that doesn't perform. Bungie has not been performing at all. Like the earnings reports say that they've been hemorrhaging money for years, right? Ever since they joined, ever since Final Shape dropped. After that, they've been hemorrhaging money. They are not making even the expenses back, let alone the salaries of the developers, or making any profit. And Marathon looks like it's not even close to doing that. And I don't want, like, I'm not rooting for Marathon to die. But we have to face realities. This game will not save Bungie. It could actually be the downfall of Bungie. I will not be surprised if layoffs for Marathon start soon, right? Maybe by the time this video goes up, which will be a day after recording, Bungie could already, like, you know, announce layoffs. Because, like, there's no money being made here. Like, whoever bought this game... By the way, did you guys notice, if you follow Marathon, did you guys notice that the Bungie has not been bragging about sales numbers? Do you think if they sold Gangbusters, they wouldn't have bragged about how many, you know, copies they sold? But they haven't said anything, right? That means if a company like that doesn't brag about sales numbers... That means that sales numbers are not something you should do. Like, the sales numbers are so bad that you shouldn't be bragging with them, and there's nothing to brag about. Anyway, that is my piece on Marathon. If you have anything to add to this, please feel free to add it in the comments. I would love to discuss it with you. Like I said, I don't have a community big enough to expect anybody to like flame me or, you know, like review or comment bomb me. There's nobody going to come into my comments and be like, you know, bombing me with like comments because nobody cares about who I am. But you guys care and I love you for it. So, you know, if you want to share your thoughts, share them. But that was Walk and Talk. That was the first episode of Walk and Talk. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. Like I said, if you want to hear more, leave it in the comments. Tell me that if you like this series, if you want to see more of it. If you want to hear the Destiny story, let me know. But until then, I will thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Bye!